Are you looking for a podcast today with ornithology and humor you crave? Well, I know all these guys and it's birds they like. It's Dirty Bird, yeah, they're just a couple guys who really like birds. It's Dirty Bird, yeah, they're pretty dirty, but they really like birds.
Hello, and welcome to Dirty Bird Podcast, a podcast that's serious about birds, but nothing else. Today, I have a very special episode. I'm interviewing author Adrienne Palma about her book, Oakley The Osprey. Hey, Adrienne.
Hey, good morning, Dr. John.
Hey, good morning. Hey, could you just kind of tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
I'm originally from New Jersey, now called North Carolina home. I live on Roanoke Island, and I'm a retired educator. I was a teacher and a school administrator for 25 plus years, and always wanted to write. So here I am, 11 books in of sea life and wildlife, and having a great time.
Yeah, and the book we're focusing on today, Oakley the Osprey, just one of the many wildlife species that you focus on, and these are like children's books, kind of oriented towards children's, I guess, even like young adult. But I mean, there's a lot of facts in it, as we're going to talk about. Like, even though I've done a episode on ospreys before, going through it, I was like, oh, I forgot that fact about ospreys. So I was learning a ton, relearning a ton, I guess. So, Adrienne, what made you focus on Osprey and particularly Oakley for this book?
Well, I live in Manio, and this nest actually exists. So it's at the base of the Washington Bomb Bridge in Nag's Head. So I actually see the nest every day when I cross the bridge, always fascinated by it. And so when I started the series, I said, you know what? I mean, this is perfect. I might as well investigate and, research and find out as much as I can about ospreys. Because me too, I like to learn as I do. So that's how I picked the ospreys and went and, uh, you know, pulled into the parking lot and took lots of photos and then found a wonderful woman down at the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge who was my go-to person just for fact checking and such. But yeah, that's how I came to do Oakley.
That's so cool that you drive past the nest and you're like, oh, I love it. Because like I feel like a lot of us as nature lovers and bird watchers, there's kind of like these particular, birds or animals that we see and interact with, and they're almost like a friend, they're like waving to like
Yes.
so that's so cool that that's osprey nest was that for you. And then you're like, well, let me write about them. Let me feature them in a book.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are other nests here, but I happened to select this one and was so amazed when I actually saw the ospreys in the nest, and I always wondered, when the babies were there, where's mom? Because I know, dad may be off hunting for food, but where's mom? They're never left alone. So she's nearby. So it really just was fascinating to learn about them and to see it almost every day.
And so the Washington Bomb Bridge. So which bridge is that going into the Outer Banks? And I guess I'll say for people that don't know the Outer Banks. So it's off the coast of North Carolina. It's kind of these like
Yeah.
barrier islands. It's where the first flight happened with Orville and Wilbur Wright. And it's a cool vacation spot. But when you live there too, it's the you got the ocean on one side and then this big kind of like bay called the Sound
Yes,
on the other side. So you're just like surrounded by salt, surrounded by sand. Sea life and everything is very important to the culture of the people that live there. So which one is the Washington Bomb Bridge? Is that the really long one? You go from like Currituck over to Nags Head?
Oh, no, that's the Wright Memorial. This
That's the right
one,
one. Okay.
this one connects Roanoke Island to Nag's Head.
Okay. Yes. I know where that's before like that where you can either turn to go to Hatteras or you can kind of
Yes,
go over to me. Okay, yes, I know exactly what you're
yes,
talking about. Okay, so anybody,
yes.
if you're in the driving to Manio or you're in the Outer Banks, you should go look for this featured nest.
Yes.
This osprey nest is now famous. um,
Yes.
did you ever I mean, you named several of the ospreys. Of course, Oakley is our feature osprey, the male, the father osprey, but and everyone has O names, but his nestlings are named, the wife osprey's named. So
Yes.
did you in your, like, was that just for the book, or like which came first? Like, were you naming these guys as, before you even wrote the book? Like, you're like, oh, there's Oakley today.
Well, I always try to have, the same first letter. And so, when I would stop and look up, yeah, I decided I always like the name Oakley for some reason. So I usually say, oh, hey, there's Oakley, or oh, wait a minute, that might be Olive. So, or one of the babies. So yes, I did. I'm a little crazy, but yes, I did. I did. I just think it's fascinating. I mean, and it's right there with Roanoke Sound. It's just a tall pole,
Right.
and it's really just fascinating to watch them.
And do you think it's so? How long ago was this idea first formed? I'm just wondering if it's still Oakley there, if maybe one of his children has taken over, or like another osprey has moved in, because they have a lifespan. If they survive their
30.
first year, then they usually live into the 13, 14, 15. The oldest one
Yes,
ever was 25, but
right.
yeah.
Yes. Well, as a matter of fact, I drove by there the other day and there was activity there, but I don't think it
Oh
was them because I think it's too
no.
cold.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
they come but first, Oakley will come back first. And it's fascinating that they come back to the same nest every year.
Hmm.
I love that fact. But they're down in South America. They come back here in the spring. So the male will come first, and they mate for life, by the way. So he comes first and starts to get the next nest ready, and then the female, in this case, Olive, then comes and, pretties up the nest. He collects the twigs and, branches and stuff, but she pretties up the nest and gets it ready, for the babies. And I could tell, in the spring how the nest was changing a little bit, so that's really fascinating. And then, once the babies come, and a great fun fact about it is that the babies are born with these beautiful blue eyes. And then they gradually change. They're a reddish orange, but by the time they're adults, they're this beautiful yellow.
Hmm.
So I love that fact. But yeah, they take care of the babies and help them hunt and learn to fly. And then an important fact is then they actually leave the nest. So by the time the summer's over, they stay nearby and they go back to check on the nest every once in a while, but they actually leave the nest, stay together as a family, and then Oakley and Olive will come back again this year. So it's really fascinating. Nature, and I know is just so fascinating.
Yeah, and it's great teaching these facts too to kids in a in a fun way. And those
Yeah.
eyes definitely feature very prominently in the book. I mean, the cover is Oakley staring right at you with those big old orange eyes, and they're talked about and featured a lot in the book, and they're fun. When I was reading this to Bo, I've read it to him a couple times. He really likes it. He's usually always kind of pointing at the eyes that yellow
Oh,
out. and
right.
and while I'm thinking of it, let me just go ahead and play a little clip here of me reading a section to Bo.
We have one brood of baby ospreys each year. Yeah, that's an egg. This spring, Olive laid her eggs in late April, one at a time, a few days apart. The eggs were beautiful. They were spotted, blotched, and smeared with reddish browns over a light brown or creamy background. Olive kept them warm for almost 35 days until they hatched. Look at the little baby.
So when he's like 13 months, so when he gets excited, he kind of starts snorting. So you could hear him snorting there as
Oh,
he's
oh,
reading.
oh. That's right. I love that.
Yeah. So what kind of got you inspired to do kids books and everything? And also, if you could kind of talk about specifically writing this Osprey book, kind of orientating Osprey facts to stuff that will be interesting to kids. I know there were some things that jumped out to me, but I was just wondering what your thought process was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to give a shout out to the illustrator
Hmm.
because, I wrote it and had the facts and all that. But I mean, my friend, her name is Amber Ray Mallet. She lives in Florida and she just brought Oakley to life.
Hmm.
So a huge shout out. She's done 3 books with me now, but we met a few years ago at the Amelia Island Book Festival and stayed in touch. And I think it was just meant to be. So she's just done a beautiful job. She's a watercolor illustrator. But this all actually, I came to this quite accidentally. I had always wanted to write, and I had already written a novel, but, I was working with a man, and we were just talking one day about loggerheads, our love for loggerhead sea turtles. And we were just talking and talking, and I said, you know what, how about if I write a book? And he was an artist. And I said, if you illustrate it, I'll write it, you illustrate it. He said, that's a great idea. So I went home that night and just wrote up a quick draft of what turned out to be Lola the Loggerhead. But he, working and, a family and all, and he was just too busy to do it. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead, take the plunge and see if I can write this book and, get it out there. So I found a publisher, Yorkshire Publishing, and got that one rolling and used one of their artists, and then it really just took off. Then I became fascinated with other sea life, bottlenose dolphins and river otters, and I did a beluga whale. And then I just moved over to the wildlife side because here we live so close to the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge. So I go there every once in a while because you can see the red wolves and the black bears, and the river otters and, all such wildlife. So that's how that series started about. And then, like I said, just, I was looking for my next book last year and I thought, I saw keep seeing the nest and I thought, you know what? This is telling me I need to do a book about ospreys. So started researching that and found I always like to have a go-to person just to check my facts and offer any other fun facts that I may miss. So I found a lovely woman, volunteer down at the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge. And, she helped me out quite a bit. So that's how this book came to be. But a really, really neat fun fact that I like about ospreys is when they are hunting for their food, they actually splash down feet first in the water, which I think is just so cool.
Right.
And
Yeah. And
then
that's one of the featured
yeah,
pages here is when the
yeah,
Osprey's going in after that bonnet head shark and it's a big splash, and that's
splash.
that's fun to read to kids. They like that. They like seeing the shark and they like splash.
Splash. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's so neat. You think they're going to go head first, but they don't.
Hmm.
And they have to be so careful. It's not, I don't think it's an easy life out there because even when they catch their food, they've got to be careful of predators,
Hmm.
especially a bald eagle and any other
Coming and
predator
taking
that,
it.
may
Yeah.
take their food.
Hmm.
So, he's got to be, in this book, I had him safely get back to the nest, but, many times that doesn't happen. So I think that's neat, that they always have to be on guard,
Hmm.
for that. And then, what did I want to tell you otherwise? The whistle, yeah, I know you mentioned it, but I think that's so neat how they communicate with one another through their high-pitched whistles. I just think that's neat too. There's just their own little idiosyncrasies that make them so special, and that their outer toes swivel. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's
You
only
have-
them and owls that have that where it'll rotate, the talon will rotate around back like that to grip the
Right.
slippery fish.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's so neat. So yeah, so that's really fun. And so, I feel like I want to learn something with every book as well. And with
Hmm.
this one, yes, absolutely I did. So, and then just even the eggs are so beautiful, how they're, spotted and blotched. I think they are just so beautiful. So yeah, I certainly, learned a lot writing this book, but and the females, believe it or not, the females are larger and stronger than the males. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So I just think That's neat. And also too, even though the nest stays in the family, other birds may also live in the nest. Sometimes you'll see a nest where there's like two shelves, so to speak. It might be one on top and one just under it. So other birds may also use the nest as well, and they
Yeah, like
hunt.
swallows and stuff you'll see
Yes.
sometimes in there. Yeah, so it's not just, they're building a nest for themselves, but they're inadvertently, supporting a
Right.
whole community of birds.
Right, right, exactly. And it's funny how, they're, so they have to be near the water, but they don't actually drink water, which I found fascinating because they get all the water they need from the fish, which I thought was really, really fun, to think about. And they fish in both the fresh water and the salt water. So, they're really, I mean, the more I researched, the more fascinated I came with them. So it was just a really fun book to research and write about.
Yeah, I mean it's full of information. I almost felt like it was a little mini Dirty Bird episode. Like you got the Latin
Right.
name even. I was like, all right, yeah, we're doing the Latin name too. Um, only thing it was missing was some
Yeah.
evolutionary history, but I don't think the kids are too into
Oh,
learning about the phylogeny of the birds.
oh, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, it's fine. It was great.
Right. And then their wingspan. I mean, six
Yeah, six
feet.
feet. Yeah, it's
Who
huge.
would have
Yeah,
thought? They're
yeah,
huge and they're thin.
yeah,
They're thin but huge.
yeah.
So, but just lots of fun things to learn about them. But yes, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're definitely an unmistakable bird of the Outer Banks. I mean, I feel like, you're out on the beach or Soundside, you're hearing the osprey call that high pitch,
Yes.
and seeing them hovering over the water. I mean, there's been so many times I'm fishing, I'm not having any luck, and then you see an osprey swoop down and grab a fish. I'm like, all right, well, I'm glad he's he's catching something
Right.
at least.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool is that?
So did you know
Yeah.
that they have a favorite foot? They favor one foot, like they have a dominant foot, the same way someone's like left or right-handed.
No, I didn't know
They
that.
yeah. So next time you see one plunge in, usually
Oh,
they lead with one foot so you can figure out which one they are.
oh, see, that's another good fun fact. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. See that? Did not know. Good. Oh, thank you. Wow.
Yeah, and
Huh.
and you're right that Amber really does bring this to life. Another other than just learning about the osprey, another fun thing is that this is set in the Outer Banks. It's a real nest that's in the Outer Banks, so it's featured.
Yes.
And then also a lot of locations in the Outer Banks. The Bodie Island Lighthouse I saw always
Yes.
there. The Roanoke Heritage Lighthouse, and there's even some
Yes.
kids sailing boats, and I remember being a kid sailing boats right at there. So I was like, oh man, this
Oh,
this hits the nostalgia feels. Uh,
yeah.
so
I
anyone
wanted to
who's
do
been to the
that.
Outer Banks before, this is, you get double bang for your buck. You're seeing the great locations in the Outer Banks and learning about an amazing bird too. So it's just a very fun read.
Oh, well, thank you. I wanted to do that just for that reason that there's so many beautiful locations here to emphasize. So, like you said, the lighthouse and, the kids have the little sailing class. I wanted to have those kids in there and, Body Island Lighthouse and the bridge and, the channel marker
Hmm.
and also the Elizabeth II ship at Roanoke Island Festival
Oh,
Park.
right.
So,
Yes, yes.
so I just wanted to, like you said, if you're not familiar with the area, at least, and you come, you could check out, these, you know, areas that are in the book, just to say, oh yeah, that's right, and in just a few mile radius are all these, points that have been pretty famous around here.
Yeah, you
So
missed
yeah,
out on the right memorial though. You could have had Oakley like pooping on the right memorial or something.
right, right.
Also, I want to ask a question. So, did you talk with Amber about what prey species you wanted Oakley to be capturing? Because it's a bonnet head shark, which is I mean, it's really cool when you see an osprey catch a shark. As you say, I mean, they mostly eat fish, sharks included, but they'll go after like even stingrays, and sometimes they'll go after frogs or birds or small mammals and stuff, but usually fish like that. Did she just pick a bonnet head shark, or did you guys talk about it?
Yeah, we talked about it. We just wanted to make sure, uh, number one, wanted it to be factual,
Uh-huh.
so we had a few different sketches to choose from, and we selected that one. So I thought it came out really cute.
Yeah, yeah, and it's fun having a shark too in a kid's book. Kids always like to see the shark.
They do. Yeah, they do. They do. Absolutely. Yeah, I think she did a great job. Uh, every single illustration is so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And some of the other just major facts from it that I just kind of wanted to pull out a little more too is you even bring up that their feathers are coated in oil, and I always love that because these birds do sometimes fully submerge in the water when they plunge in, and they're still able to fly out of the water because they use their uropygeal gland, which all birds have and use to kind of clean themselves, but theirs specifically has a lot of lipids on it, which fat and water, oil and water don't mix. So they
Right.
use that to just kind of coat themselves. So even when they plunge in the water, they basically the water just doesn't waterlog and they're able to fly away. So I thought that was a really cool fact that I liked. And you even provide a little range map for them too, which is so cool of their migration. And it's
Yeah.
incredible that these birds, for such a big bird, that they're migratory also in how far they'll go. I mean, sometimes they'll fly as far as like 3,000 miles, down to Venezuela.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I
insane.
thought that was fascinating. And
Mhm.
that was really an important fact that I wanted to, have in here with the map. And, again, she did a great job. But here, right, flying from South America every year to and from.
Mhm.
So yeah, a long way. Otherwise, in the warmer areas, they're there year round. But here, yeah, flying back and forth. I just think that was amazing, you know. And just another really neat feature about them. Yeah, pretty
Right.
neat. Yeah.
And uh, I definitely like the relationship with Oakley and Olive, and then they have their three
Yes.
young. I couldn't help with because I do a whole breeding section on every bird that I cover, from courtship to how they're young, fledge and everything like that. And I couldn't help but think of two kind of facts. I was like, well, I don't think you could probably fit this into a children's book, but of course, they have their courtship rituals, which are pretty cool. The male will dive, will sometimes bring the female a fish or a stick. But they definitely, mommy and daddy bird definitely like each other. They will usually copulate like hundreds of times during a mating season, and then but the kids, there's a lot of sibling rivalry, and I don't know if you've observed this, but there's usually one nestling that's kind of bigger than the rest, and sometimes they'll even push each other out of the nest, and there's a lot of competition for those fish, and the parents will even kind of favor one nestling, because even though they'll lay like 2 to 3 eggs and hatch 2 to 3 nestlings, it's not unusual for them to just fledge one in a
Right.
season, which is fine because they like we were talking about, they have pretty long lifespans. They around 3 years old is when they start becoming sexually mature, and they actually will, their first year, they migrate with mom and dad down to South America, but they'll actually stay down in South America until they're like 3 years old, sexually mature, and
Yeah.
then they'll come back up. And so and then they live into their teens, maybe even as old as 25. So that's a lot of breeding years, that's a lot of potential young they can raise. But it is always amazing when they are able to get 2 or 3 young fledged, and in the end of the book there, you show that big happy family of 5 all hanging out on the tree. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, but okay, so I just learned something from you about this. That was pretty neat about the sibling rivalry, so to speak. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was neat. Wow, didn't know that. But
Yeah.
yes, I just love the fact that yeah, they do stay together for the season and then leave. But yeah, they just one brood every year.
Mhm.
A few days apart, but I thought that was pretty neat. So, but yeah, and then the mom will stay with them, whereas the dad will go out, to bring the food back. So, yeah, I think that was pretty neat. So yeah, it was just really fascinating.
Yeah, and I mean the nests are some of the most fun things to observe because you really can. They're very prominent since they're usually
Yes.
nesting out, on a channel marker or on a telephone pole or a big nest on a tree. So they're very easy to spot, and you can very easily see fish get brought back to the nest, and sometimes even see the parents feeding the young and everything. And
Yes.
they're not aggressive birds, but if you do get close to that nest, they will let you know that they're not happy. Usually by the at you,
Right.
and on rare occasions, if you get too close, they will swoop. I think in my episode I talk about either it's John James Audubon or one of his contemporaries trying to climb a nest and getting attacked by the
Oh
ospreys. I'm
my
like, you
goodness.
deserve it, man. Like,
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, from what I researched, it's always out in the open, pretty high, but definitely out in the open as long as they're
Mhm.
near water. But you're right, they're not aggressive, but if but they're going to defend their nest.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and especially those babies are there. Yes. Yeah,
And
exactly.
you do talk about uh, threats to them too, which I
Yeah.
really liked, and especially mentioned DDT, which was a huge factor for ospreys and
Yes.
bald eagles. I mean, lots of different bird species. Since these are kind of an apex predator. I mean, other than bald eagles snatching their fish, there's not much else going after an adult osprey. But yeah, they eat a lot of fish, and so there's a lot of toxins that can kind of accumulate in their bodies. Since they're kind of eating at the upper part of the food chain there. So
Right.
still to this day, I mean, mercury is a big thing, and then there's I mean, they live on waterways, and what's usually on waterways too is like a lot of cities, a lot of industries. So there's a lot of potential pollutants that can be in the water that they're feeding in. So threats still go on, today towards them, and I do talk about it in my episode too. But I like that you brought that up because I'm also always concerned about the conservation of these species that we talk
No, I agree. And I think that's an important fact too, because you want them to survive. So I'm glad, that the special protection isn't there anymore. But yeah, the home, yeah, power lines or cars, not too much, but pollution of their habitat, you're right. So that could be a factor. But otherwise, yeah, otherwise, I mean, I think people just respect them and are so fascinated by them, stop and take pictures. There's so many bird watchers around here.
about.
But so I think, hopefully the book too will spread the word just to respect them, keep your distance, admire them and such. But, that's their habitat, their home. And so
Right.
you need to respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. There is accounts of nest abandonment when boats will drive too close to their nest. The mom and dad will just
Oh,
get spooked and fly away and abandon their nest. So I mean, yeah, it definitely to your, observe them from a distance, and enjoy them, but yeah, respect them
right,
too, for sure.
right, right. I agree. Especially, yeah, like you're saying, those nests on the channel markers,
Hmm.
that could be an issue. So yeah, you're right. And I think, because there's so much education around here with the refuges, they have the experts, the bird watching experts, and they give little tours and such. So I think hopefully the, people are spreading the word, to respect them, be mindful of them, and let them enjoy their home,
Yeah.
you know.
And I mean, it's great too teaching kids about it early on too through
Yes.
through stories like this. Having the kid like, no, don't don't hurt Oakley.
Yes, yes, yes. And another one of my goals, my goal for my books is for them to be, entertaining, but also educational and factual. So I really
Mhm.
hope that maybe this can be a springboard, to learn about more. Go visit the nest, or go to your public library to learn more, or if you can visit a zoo or any of these animals, wildlife
Right.
center, an aquarium. But hopefully this can be the first step in, learning more and having that love and appreciation for, nature and wildlife.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly. And I just wanted to talk about birds and the Outer Banks in general, because as I mentioned in the beginning, since uh, and I'll say we, since I grew up as a kid in the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
But we in the Outer Banks, since we got the ocean on one side, the sound on one side, it's pretty much all just one big sandbar. Definitely are very connected with the sea life and everything, and birds play a big part in that. A lot of people are either in the tourism industry or in like the seafood industry or something there, and
Right.
I mean, I remember going fishing and you would look for where the birds are. You would look for if there's a bunch of gulls, like, then there's probably a lot of bait fish, and that's where the big fish are going to be. And just being on the beach and you got the pelicans flying real
Yes.
low.
Yes.
Then down at Pea Island, you have all the migratory, especially in the wintertime, all the migratory bird. I mean, there's thousands and thousands sometimes of like waterfowl back there, and then hunting of the waterfowl is a big thing too. So it's just tied into the culture a lot, with all the different bird species there that are very visible. And so Oakley the Osprey is, one part of that, but there's lots
Yes.
of other ones. And I know you have some books too about like pelicans and everything. And so
Right.
it's great to just see all those birds kind of brought together into that culture of the Outer Banks.
Right. And just something special about it. Like you meant, I did a book about Piper, the brown pelican, and that setting is here. And just again to just bring that awareness of the beauty of these animals that are here. So
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah, and even I know I know you're a bird person, but also too the loggerhead sea turtles.
Yes.
That's big. Here as well. Nesting is big here. So yeah, just a lot of sea life and wildlife to admire
Mhm.
here. People come visit, or those who live here too, just to appreciate what's around us. Just appreciate your surroundings.
Right. Yeah. And respected, of course, too. Like I mean the
Yes.
plovers, I've definitely heard there was some local pushback, I remember when I was down there, but I think people have come to accept it more. But I sometimes hear from tourists I go to and they're like, I couldn't even drive on the beach because of the plovers. I'm like, well, like, come
Um,
on, you can't you can't just
right.
really, do you want to just be driving over like crushing nests? Like, sorry, but you driving on the beach is
Right.
not worth that. So
No, not at
and I
all.
think I remember when I was a kid, I think there were like stickers, like, people saying stuff about like, about they were like save the plover stickers. And then I don't even remember what the anti-plover stickers were, but there was a little
Right.
bit of a controversy there. But I think now the locals are more, like, hey, we're protecting these plovers, stay off the beach,
Right.
guys.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I do think you're right. I do think people spread the word and are not afraid to say something if there could be something in danger.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think for the most part people do, which is great.
Yeah. Well, same with the wild horses too. Like, people want them
Yes.
protected, and don't feed them. Don't, yeah. I mean, one guy got
Yes.
struck by a car like last year, I think. Like, it's like, come on, people. If you're gonna come down here to recreate and enjoy it, like, you gotta respect it too.
Right, right, exactly. That's right. Yeah, and I hope so. And I think majority of people do. Just getting back to the nest. There's so many. There's a nest, the Network for Endangered Sea Turtles, who do a great job of protecting the nests. And they go out on the beaches early in the morning just to look for nests, and then put the rope around it. The little protection
Yeah.
around the area, and just keep an eye on them, just to make sure, and just to make sure when they hatch, they can get safely back to the water.
Mhm.
And even too, the ghost crabs. Ghost crabs are fun if you
Yeah.
go out, after dark and just see them. I mean, don't, you may run after them, but leave them alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's fun too.
Well, yeah, I just love talking about all the wildlife down there, because definitely a big part of my childhood, and I still love to go back and visit and see everything. So, and then it was really fun reading this book and sharing that with my son, also with, little Bo, liking to snort every time the shark comes up.
Oh, I'm so glad he liked it. That's great.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Adrienne, is there any other thoughts that you have, or anything you have upcoming, or anything you would want to tell listeners about?
Well, actually, my next book is not on an animal or sea life. It's actually going to be about the Wright brothers.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
a children's book about the Wright brothers. Yeah, and again, living so close, I walk around the monument a lot, and I thought, why not? They're right here.
Hmm.
And I learned so much writing it. It hopefully will be released in October. And again, Amber is going to do the illustrations. But I just learned so much about them, their family life, and fascinated me the most was just getting here. You got to think back then, it wasn't easy to get here. Had to go by train. And then the first time, Orville came, it was just a little rickety schooner,
Hmm.
from Elizabeth City to Kitty Hawk. But just think, there's nothing really here back then.
Yeah.
We had the post office and several houses and all, but they had to bring everything with them. So just the logistics of all that, and then getting here and spending time here, and the frustrations and the trial and errors. Just really think these two boys from Ohio doing this and just not giving up. So I'm just hoping that'll be a story more about the determination and that can-do attitude. So anyway, that's what's coming next.
Well, great. I will definitely be on the lookout for that. Well, thanks for talking with me, Adrienne, and talking about Oakley the Osprey. I can't wait to be back down in the Outer Banks. I'm definitely gonna drive across the Washington Brom Bridge and take a look out for that nest. Say hi to Oakley. Say hi to Olive. Maybe if they have some nestlings, I'll have to come up with some more O names for them. But
Right. There you go. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Dirty Bird Podcast is brought to you by me, John, with my rotating panel of guests and co-hosts. Thanks for being on the show, everybody. The Dirty Bird theme song is by Ricky Pistone. Check out his groovy and hilarious music videos on YouTube. The outro music you're listening to right now is a song New York Redneck by the Sidewalk Slammers. Check them out wherever you get your music. The Dirty Bird Podcast logo is by the very talented TJ Ranoski. And of course, a shout out to my beautiful wife, Lauren, who created my original logo. Check out the show notes for this episode for a full list of credits for any bird calls or sounds used in the episode. Thanks for listening.
At the track, driving to Brooklyn, ain't never coming back. Tim's on the ground in the concrete jungle. I might get into a little rumble. Ain't nothing but a high-tailing man, bred on the farm, so I work with my hands. Just call me a New York redneck. Where's the banjo, play that Bella thing. And I might be high class, but my liquor is more. They took my land, so it ain't my fault. Just call me a New York redneck. Ain't my fault. It ain't my fault. Yeah, it ain't my fault. Got a car in the front, but a truck in the back, and I like the New York Mets and my cowboy hats. My drink, my